Up and down the streets, kite runners were returning triumphantly, their captured kites held high. They showed them off to their parents and their friends. But they all knew the best was yet to come. The biggest prize of all was still flying. I sliced a bright yellow kite with a coiled white tail. It cost me another gash on the index finger, and blood trickled down into my palm. I had Hassan hold the string and sucked the blood dry, and blotted my finger against my jeans. Within another hour, the number of surviving kites dwindled from maybe 50 to a dozen. I was one of them. I'd made it to the last dozen. I knew this part of the tournament would take a while, because the guys who had lasted this long were good. They wouldn't easily fall into simple traps like the old lift and dive, Hassan's favorite trick. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, tufts of clouds had drifted in, and the sun had slipped behind them. Shadows started to lengthen. The spectators on the roofs bundled up in scarves and thick coats. We were down to a half dozen, and I was still flying. My legs ached and my neck was stiff. But with each defeated kite, hope grew in my heart, like snow collecting on a wall, one flake at a time. My eyes kept returning to a blue kite that had been wreaking havoc for the last hour. "How many has he cut?" I asked. "I counted 11, Hassan said. "Do you know whose it might be?" Hassan clucked his tongue and tipped his chin. That was a trademark Hassan gesture, which meant he had no idea. The blue kite sliced a big purple one and swept twice in big loops. 10 minutes later, he had cut another 2, sending hordes of kite runners racing after them. After another 30 minutes, only 4 kites remained, and I was still flying. It seemed I could hardly make a wrong move, as if every gust of wind blew in my favor. I'd never felt so in command. So lucky it felt intoxicating. I didn't look up to the roof, didn't dare take my eyes off the sky. I had to concentrate, play it smart. Another 15 minutes, and what had seemed like a laughable dream that morning had suddenly become a reality. It was just me and the other guy, the blue kite. The tension in the air was as taut as the glass string I was tugging at with my bloody hands. People were stomping their feet, clapping, whistling, chanting. "Baba Rish, Baba Rish, cut him, cut him." I wondered if Baba's voice was one of them. Music blasted. The smell of steamed mantu and fried pakora drifted from rooftops and open doors. But all I heard, all I willed myself to hear, was the thudding of blood in my head. All I saw was the blue kite. All I smelled was victory, salvation, redemption. If Baba was wrong, and there was a God, like they said in school, then he'd let me win. I didn't know what the other guy was playing for. Maybe just bragging rights. But this was my one chance to become someone who was looked at, not seen, listened to, not heard. If there was a God, he'd guide the winds. Let them blow for me, so that with a tug of my string, I'd cut loose my pain, my longing. I'd endured too much, come too far. And suddenly, just like that, hope became knowledge. I was going to win. It was just a matter of when. It turned out to be sooner than later. A gust of wind lifted my kite, and I took advantage. Fed the string, pulled up, looped my kite on top of the blue one. I held position. The blue kite knew it was in trouble. It was trying desperately to maneuver out of the jam. But I didn't let go. I held position. The crowd sensed the end was at hand. The chorus of cut him, grew louder, like Romans chanting for the gladiators to kill. Kill, you're almost there. Amir Agha, almost there. Hassan was panting. Then the moment came. I closed my eyes and loosened my grip on the string. It sliced my fingers again as the wind dragged it. And then I didn't need to hear the crowd's roar to know. I didn't need to see either. Hassan was screaming, and his arm was wrapped around my neck. Bravo! Bravo, Amir Agha!